BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark on 5 Live.
Happy New Year! It's Saturday morning on 5 Live. Yep, it's Saturday. Who knew? Scott Mills and Chris Stark with you for the next couple of hours. Slightly different show today. We're going to be playing you some of our favourite bits from the show from last year.
Yeah, and it's a good one. We've got Tom Jones, Sam Fender, Andy Oliver, James Blunt, Chris and Rosie Ramsey, Paddy McGuinness, to name but a few.
And loads of your brilliant stories as well. And we'll have some of our favourite kids reviewing their parents' record collection.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark on 5 Live.
Don't text us this morning.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. We're not in the studio, so we won't see your message, but you can still email us anytime and we can maybe use it on a future show. Email us, scottandchris@bbc.co.uk.
This is going to be fun. We start with one of my favourite subjects. That time you missed out on something great for a really rubbish reason.
We can talk to one of my favourite artists right now. Good morning, Jack Garrett.
I'm already embarrassed.
Oh, wow. Hi, Jack. You okay?
Yeah, no, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
What did you miss out on and why?
I missed out on playing Superstition with Stevie Wonder live in Hyde Park in 2015 because I thought he was joking.
Cool. Well, if you'd like to top that story...
Let's take it back to the beginning. Right, explain the situation.
Well, what happened was I was playing at a festival that he was playing at. This is like early in my career, before I got the BBC Sound of, before I got the Brit. And, you know, I'm young, very, very young and naive. And I also am kind of at a point where I'm refusing to believe that anything is actually going well. Yeah. My imposter syndrome is already just in astronomical levels. And I'm backstage, I've done my show, it's gone well, I'm really excited to see Stevie Wonder, who, I mean, I can't begin to explain how much that man's music has not only influenced me, but inspired me to become a musician and the kind of musician I am. You know, I owe him so much. So when the opportunity came up to meet him, I obviously, I mean, I'm still nervous talking about it now. I'm fumbling over my words. I
would not know what to do. What a legend.
So this is all backstage at a festival, right?
Yeah, this is backstage. My booking agent, who's one of my best mates, the company he works for also looked after Stevie Wonder at the time, I think, and he was able to pull some strings. It was a real, this was the only time I've ever been able to, get myself in front of someone who it's a dream. This is a pinch me moment. So, you know, and I'm walking past security after security, different layers and level of security, just to end up kind of getting to what is essentially a glorified caravan. And inside of it, apparently, is my idol, Stevie Wonder. And I go in and he's there. And I didn't really say much because how can I? And anyway, he's in there with someone else who's also performing, who had seen my show and was like, hey, this guy's really good at the guitar. And Stevie Wonder was like, is that true? And I went, yes, sir. And he then kind of went, oh, well, you should come up and play Superstition with us at the end.
What?
At this point, there is no blood left in my head. All the blood has just rushed to my feet to keep me standing up so I don't collapse in front of Stevie Wonder. And I wasn't thinking, and still to this day, I have to believe that he was just joking, because the next words that came out of my mouth were literally like, no, you're all right, mate, come on.
Oh, no.
Why would you say that?
Because
I understand why. Because you feel like... What you were doing here, Jack, it was imposter syndrome. You're like, why would Stevie Wonder ask me, Jack Garrett, to do Superstition with him? Now, looking at it from the outside in, as we are, that is a reasonable thing for him to say. But for you, you're like, why would it be little old me? I totally get it.
Still today, if he asked me, I'd be like, nah, come on, who's put you on?
Yeah, you're all right, mate.
I'll get you a pint. It's that sort of thing.
Yes.
But the problem is now you're sort of getting trolled by one of the most popular songs of all time, surely, because you can't avoid that song wherever you go, weddings, whatever, parties.
One of the most played and popular songs of all time, and every time I hear it, my fingers go, that could have been us.
Very superstitious, writings on the wall. Very superstitious,
Scott and Chris with some of our favourite moments from Saturday mornings on 5 Live. Sir Tom Jones is coming up, and 7-year-old Ella reviews her mum and dad's taste in music.
But first, you may know him as comedian and rapper Doc Brown, or you might know him as actor and author Ben Bailey Smith. Whatever, here he is.
What our researchers do is they build a dossier of information. Please tell us if what they've discovered is true or false. Here's one. Ben Bailey Smith recently met his hero, Ian Wright, in the street.
That is very true. Not just in the street, on my street. I was walking down my street. So I was just freaking out, really. He's somebody I've wanted to meet since I was a very little boy, being a Palace fan. And then obviously he's sort of become, I mean, in the world of national treasures, or the country of national treasures in the UK, it's like Attenborough then Wright, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he's a man. So how did it play out? So you've walked past him, and then have you realised this is your moment, so you've got to stop him?
I was driving, and I just pulled in. I think I was parked in someone's driveway or something like that, just jumped out. And I was like, I'm really sorry. I don't want to take up any of your time. I just want to say, you know, when you start like spilling out everything and you can't be cool. I was like, I went to Palace. I was 10 years old. I went with my dad. Like, I saw you play. You're my biggest hero. The FA Cup that year. Blah, blah, blah. Just spilling it all out. And he's just like, you know, take a breath. He's like, what's your name? This is the best part. He didn't know who I was. Right? He didn't know who I was. And he stood and spoke to me for so long that I had to end I had to go to work.
You had to end it.
Yeah. And as we were talking, you know, people would pass and go, oh my God, Ian Wright. And the way he touched all these different people and the time that he gave them. I mean, a cabbie drove past and was like, Righty, this black cab driver. He's like, Righty, can you leave a voicemail for my son and daughter? And he just stopped, went to the cab, left voicemails for this cab driver's kids. And as he was doing it, the cab driver looked at me and goes, legend, this guy, legend, you know, absolute legends. And then he goes, don't even like Arsenal.
It sounds like he takes the time all the time for everybody.
He's the nicest guy.
What I told all my friends is the easiest, quickest way to explain what it was like me meeting Ian Wright is that he's everything that you hoped he would be.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone, it's time. We can say good morning to the legend. That is Sir Tom Jones. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Tom. I just want to know. I want to know what a Tom Jones Saturday morning is like. I imagine that you are talking to us, I don't know, standing by a swimming pool in a short silk dressing gown while your butler brings you a cocktail. Would that be correct?
It used to be. It was once, but not at the moment. I'm in London now. I moved back to London from Los Angeles, and so I'm in my flat. I'm sitting down having a coffee, talking to you.
Tom, you've been successful for so long. When people recognise you on the street, do you find that they know you from different things? Like some know the old school stuff, some will just shout, sex bomb, and some go, oh, it's the legend from The Voice.
Yes, all three.
All of those.
Yeah, I was walking through Battersea Park. I was walking with a fellow that works for me, and we were walking together there, and a fellow says to me, my 2 children are in the park, so you might get bothered because they watch you on The Voice. And I said, oh, okay, well, that's all right. So as we were walking around, and he said, one is 10 and one is 11. Okay. So this little girl comes up to me on a bicycle. She said, could I just say hi? I said, of course. And she said, I don't want to bother you, but she said, I just want to tell you that I watch you on The Voice. You know, and I think you're wonderful. I said, oh, thank you very much. And I said, so you love The Voice? She said, no, I love you on The Voice. I said, oh, thank you very much. So, you know, I thought, oh, well, it's just the TV show. So she said, and you know what my favorite song is? No, The Green, Green Grass of Home, she said. I said, wow. You know, a 10-year-old little girl, she said, could I shake your hand? I said, of course. I said, would you like to have a picture. Do you have an iPhone or anything? She said, no, I'm not allowed an iPhone. She said, but if I could, I just shake her hand. I said, of course. And she got on a bike and went away. And I thought, wow, that's tremendous. This little kid. So yes, it all depends where I am and who is sort of approaching me or, like that.
Now, our researchers work hard to try and find out things that maybe we don't know. One of the things is that you go for your daily walk in disguise, wearing an anorak, dark glasses, and a hoodie.
Yes.
Do you?
Well, a cap. I wear a baseball cap, the mask at the moment, so that's because of my goatee. I've got a great goatee, of course. So, but the mask covers that. So with dark glasses and a baseball cap, and some kind of sweatsuit or something, it's...
yeah, but your voice is so distinctive, Tom.
As long as I don't speak.
Is that the problem? Like, do you have to put on a voice as well?
No, I don't say anything.
He doesn't speak.
If we ask people, we don't speak if there's somebody close, Because I know as soon as I open my mouth, they recognize it. So it's very hard for me, being Welsh, to keep quiet. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
So famous and so recognisable, though. I think if I saw Tom in a park in full disguise, I'd still be like, that's Tom Jones in a disguise.
I would argue, don't do the disguise, because I would be like, surely it isn't. You know what I mean? He looks very like said Tom.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
Oh, Scott, I love Sir Tom.
It's not unusual to have
What a guy.
fun with anyone.
What a guy.
But when I see you hanging about with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry. I wanna die.
Pinch Punch, first of the month. It's Scott and Chris on 5 Live. We're digging out some of our favourite bits from the show, and we just love the brilliant stories you tell us. Like this one from the hilarious Jenny.
Everyone lies a little bit when they're a kid, but some kids take it a little bit too far. Wow. That's a laugh, isn't it?
Oh, God.
Well, hello, Jenny.
Hello, darling. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm good. I'm guessing from the laugh I just heard that this is you. You were a child liar.
I was a very much a child liar. It's so cringy. It's so many years ago, and I still cringe when I think about it.
Okay, yes, I'm sat back and relaxed. Let's hear this.
Right. Well, I absolutely loved John Noakes and Shep on Blue Peter. He was my hero, childhood hero.
Was he hot?
No, I didn't think he was, but I thought it'd be perfect for my mum.
Right, got
Wasn't Shep a dog?
Yeah, Shep was a dog, yeah.
No, not Shep would be perfect for my mum. John would be.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Shep was the dog.
I'm not familiar with either of these characters.
No, well, he was always doing really exciting things on Blue Peter, and he seemed a really nice, happy person. I mean, my mum and dad got divorced when I was really young, so it was just me and her, my grandparents. So early 70s, I was 10 in my last year at primary school. I come to the conclusion that it was perfect dad material. So without telling my mum, I wrote to him at Blue Peter, and I said, it's massively long letters saying how pretty she was and how slim she was and how kind she was. But she went to work all week and she got very lonely at times, especially at the weekends. So I thought it would be a really good idea if they got married. So my mum wouldn't be on her own, and he could then be my dad, and we could come to live with him and Shep.
Yes.
And I just thought, what amazing surprise it would be for my mum.
And when you're a kid, that seems entirely possible.
No, it was going to be perfect. You know what I mean? And I was absolutely so convinced. I'm sorry, I'm cringing. So convinced that this was going to happen that I spent most of the next Sunday after I'd written this letter secretly and painstakingly making about 30 plus wedding invitations for my whole class.
Oh, love you.
There were lots of glitter and glue involved, and I gave them all out on the Monday morning. And you know what? Everyone believed me.
Did they?
They did. So anyway, big discussion to myself about, I'm from London, so it was a toss-up between Westminster Abbey and St Paul's Cathedral. But it just been announced that Princess Anne was getting married at Westminster Abbey, so I thought, well, it's a no-brainer. If it's good enough for her, then, it's good enough for Mum and John. So, and I told everyone the wedding was going to be on TV. Don't. I told everyone that the wedding was going to be on TV, and then afterwards we were all going to go on to Blue Peter. but they mustn't tell anybody because John and Mum were worried it will get into the papers. And that would ruin their big day, and then we wouldn't get to be on Blue Peter, and they wouldn't all meet Shep.
Please,
this is great.
Tell me what it said on the wedding invitations.
It said something about Carol Wiggins and John Noakes invite you to their wedding at Westminster Abbey on, I think it was something like March 1973 or something like that. And it said, if you can't come, don't tell anybody. Anyway, I was so excited. Honestly, I sent this letter and I thought, right, this is really going to go on because he's going to really go for this. So every time the phone or the doorbell rang, I thought it was John preparing to sweep Mum off her feet.
Okay, you know when you contacted John Noakes, so when you tried to contact him, did you just try and contact him through Blue Peter?
Yeah, I just put John Noakes Blue Peter London because there's no social media back then, was there? There was nothing.
No.
But what's great is when you contact Blue Peter, often they send you back, because I've written to Blue Peter in the past, and I got sent back a Blue Peter badge.
I did.
Is that what happened?
I had a letter back from John a couple of weeks later.
From actual John?
Yeah, well, he actually did sign it. It was typed, but he'd actually signed it. He sent me a Blue Peter badge and loads of signed photographs and one of Shep. And he sent me a lovely letter. I've still got it, actually. It's somewhere. And it's saying that both my mum and I sounded really lovely, but unfortunately he was already married.
This is so good.
Honestly, guys, I was absolutely crushed and heartbroken. And I thought, oh God, I've got to tell people at school, like, so.
Yeah, how did that go down?
I told them the wedding has to be postponed because Shep wasn't very well and John had some filming to do on that day now, so he couldn't make his wedding.
Oh no.
Anyway, we broke up for the summer holidays soon after that. Nobody really mentioned it again.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark on 5 Live.
It's time for Kids Review, their parents' record collection. Good morning, Ella. How old are you?
7.
7, congratulations. And whose music have you been listening to?
My mum's and dad's.
Okay, tell me a bit about mum and dad. What are their names?
My mum is Jenny and my dad is Paul.
Okay, and which album are you going to review for us this morning?
Back to Bedlam by James Blunt.
Blunty, here we go. Let's hear a bit of that.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
I love James Blunt personally. But Ella, let's learn a little bit more about you. What kind of music do you normally like listening to?
Well, I normally like to listen to Spice Girls and Little Mix, but sometimes I listen to Taylor Swift and Alanis Morissette.
It sounds like you really like listening to girls generally then. But James Blunt does have an exceptionally high voice. This is a very famous album. It came out in 2004. And Scott, I'm sure you know this, it sold 3 million copies.
Huge album.
Right, Ella, what songs are on the album?
Hi, You're Beautiful, Wise Men, Goodbye My Lover, Cry, No Bravery.
And what's your favourite track out of those?
No Bravery, but I do really like You're Beautiful.
Can you sing a bit of You're Beautiful for us?
Yeah.
Off you go.
standing here. Oh, wait. Nope, that's the wrong one. I don't know how to sing You're Beautiful, but I know how to sing No Bravery.
Okay, that's good. We'll have a bit of that, please.
And I see no bravery in your eyes anymore. Only sadness.
Yes.
Woo!
Really good.
Ella, what can you tell me about James Blunt?
He's really funny.
He is funny.
He goes on his phone a lot too, on Twitter. He normally puts on jokes.
He does. He's become quite famous for his tweets.
And normally jokes about himself as well, which are really, really funny.
Did your parents tell you that, Ella? You don't follow him on Twitter, do you?
No, I don't have Twitter.
No, good. just thought I'd check.
Did I disappoint you or let you down? Should I be feeling guilty or let the judges...
When we had James Blunt on the show a few weeks ago, he said that all his sad songs are the most popular ones. Why do you think people like sad songs, Ella?
I don't know.
Very deep question for this time of the morning, I think.
Sorry.
No. It's just I'd never really thought about it before. Scott, why do you enjoy sad songs?
I just like to wallow in misery sometimes, Chris.
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. You have been the one. You have been the one for me.
Now, Ella, what other songs on Back to Bedlam do you like?
Wise Men.
Oh, yes. Let's have a bit of Wise Men. Here we go.
Look who's alone now. It's not me. It's not me. Those three wise men, they've got a Sammy by the sea.
What's this one about?
I think wise men were trying to have fun and they got into trouble, and then he thinks it's all on him.
Three Wise Men. So I thought it was something to do with the Christmas story, unless you know any more.
Oh, is it those three wise men, is it?
Well, I assume it was.
Off of Gold, Frankincense and Myrrh?
Yeah, it goes, there were three wise men just trying to have some fun. Look who's alone now. It's not me.
I think we need to fact check this. I'm not sure it's about those. Like, there are other wise men, not those wise men. I'm not sure it's about those.
You mean like the eggheads or something? Or do you mean, what do you mean?
Yes.
It's a song about a pub quiz team. I'm not sure it is, Ella, but you've got us thinking.
Gotta ask yourself the question, where are you now?
This morning on 5 Live, 7-year-old Ella is reviewing her mum and dad's record collection. She's been listening to James Blunt's 2004 album, Back to Bedlam.
Your friends probably haven't heard of James Blunt. If you were trying to describe the album, describe James Blunt, how would you do it to one of your friends?
It's sad, and he sings about lots of people dying, and there's lots of guitar in there.
Tricky sell that, if you were in the playground telling your mates. But no, I think you've kind of got the measure of it there.
Okay, it's time for the final score. Your grade A to E, please, for James Blunt's album, Back to Bedlam.
B and a half.
Yeah, B and a half. I'd say that's pretty much a B plus, Scott.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to James in case he's listening?
Is he?
Oh no, he might be, so I'm just saying, is there anything you want to say?
Nope.
No message for James. All right then, thank you so much for being on the show this morning, Ella. You really quite liked this album.
Quite a lot.
Couple more happy songs and it would have gone up to an A maybe.
Yep.
Ella, thank you so much, and let's hear a bit more James Blunt. Have a brilliant weekend, all right?
Bye.
Bye now.
My life is brilliant. My love is pure. I saw an angel, of that I'm sure. She smiled at me on the subway. She was with another man, but I won't lose no sleep on that, 'cause I've got a plan. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. It's true. I saw your face in a crowded place, and I don't know what to do, 'cause I'll never be with you.
Loving Ella's work there. And we have actual James Blunt on the show in about an hour.
It's Scott and Chris with some of our favourite Saturday morning moments. Andy Oliver's on soon, and Chris and Rosie Ramsey, and Sam Fender, and more of your stories. There's normally one story that everybody tells, their go-to story. Fee, hit me with the headline.
Dun, 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 dun. Fee Starstone today met Trevor McDonald and Elaine Page in Waitrose.
Did you, correct me if I'm wrong, did you just do the News at 10 theme to introduce your headline there?
About Trevor McDonald.
Yeah.
I did, and there's a bit of a backstory to this. So basically, 1993, I was 18 years old, moved to London from the Midlands to be a nanny. And my first day, had the baby that I was looking after, and went to Waitrose to do the family shop. So, never been to London visiting, but, big family shop. Here I go. Walk into Waitrose with my little trolley and the little one sitting in the trolley, and bang into another trolley as I go through the entrance to Waitrose, and knocked a few items off the top of this trolley. So kind of bend down to pick them up to say, oh God, I'm really sorry. Look up, it's Trevor McDonald. and you know that thing when you celebrity, you can't kind of place that they're a celebrity. So you say hello like you know them really well. Yeah. I was like, hiya, are you all right?
Did you?
And he's looking at me, but yeah, I'm really sorry. And then carried on kind of around the store, a bit kind of shell-shocked, just seeing Trevor McDonald, 18 years old, first time in London.
Yeah, was he the first celeb you saw in London?
Oh, the first celeb, yeah, what a celeb.
I know.
Then round the corner I go, and a lady comes up to me and says, oh, look, what a beautiful little baby you've got. And I said, oh, she's not mine. She's, I'm her nanny. And then said, oh, hello, thinking I recognise this lady too. And it was Elaine Page.
Oh, my God, where is this Waitrose of dreams?
And my mind was just blown, yeah.
What branch is this? I mean, I know it was 1993, but maybe the star ratio is still high.
East Sheen. Very exciting place. Very exciting Waitrose. But the story behind it was I would then drive home every weekend to see my mom, and I kind of just walked in the door and went, dun, 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 who's Fee Starstone seen in London today? And it kept going like that to every time I'd star-spotted somebody. I would keep doing it. And now I'm 45. It's been going on a long time. And I actually work with celebrities now. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah. What do you do?
So I'm a parenting supporter. I support parents and an advisor, and I'm a child sleep consultant. So I work with lots of high-profile clients and celebrities. And of course, I don't really publicly say who I've worked with because it's very private when you ask for advice. So I don't tell anyone except my mum. And when I tell my mum, I phone her and say,
oh no, you do as well.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Guess who I'm working with now, Mum?
Yeah, I can't believe that you haven't done this yet to one of the celebrities. I can't believe I'm working with you, Paddy McGuinness.
I should say do it, shouldn't I? I would do it with my next celebrity client, but then I fear that I might not work with any more again after that. I'll say, don't go to her. She's utterly bonkers.
Hold on, what a fascinating job. So you teach celebrities how to sleep?
The little ones, yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, the little ones. Oh, got
The
you.
little
So I
ones,
thought, for
yes.
example,
No,
Paddy
so-
McGuinness, you've got a situation where you're with him trying to get him to sleep. I don't know why I thought that. But it was just such a wonderful image of you lying there going, go to sleep, Paddy. go to sleep.
That would be amazing. No, I am a parenting expert and child sleep consultant. So I help
wicked.
parents with all of their issues from 0 to 18 with their little ones. So toilet training or weaning or tantrums or sleep, mainly sleep. So yeah.
No lighty, no sleepy.
Yeah, exactly. No lighty, no nighty. That sort of thing.
I've really enjoyed our chat.
Me too. It's been lovely speaking to you. And my kids and I listen to you and we love you.
Oh, thanks, me.
Thanks a lot, guys.
I've always said Fee has great taste, haven't I?
Paddy McGuinness is on this show soon as well. Remember that time we all met someone from that famous episode of Come Dine With Me? This will all make sense in about an hour from now.
Doesn't make sense to me right now. But that's okay.
Here's another of our favourite guests.
She's a chef, a presenter, the host of the Great British Menu. Good morning, Andi Oliver.
Good morning.
Hi, boy.
Hey. Hiya. Oh, it's lovely to hear her voice. How are you?
Oh, I'm grand. How are you two? I haven't seen you since the Kebab Awards.
I was just saying that.
What a night.
We were just saying, can you remember the first time you were on TV?
Oh, do you know what? The first time I was ever on TV was when I was a kid. I was on Crackerjack. When you have to be quite old to remember Crackerjack. Did you either of you know what Crackerjack is?
No.
Right. So Crackerjack was Crackerjack was a Friday. It was like Friday. It's 5 o'clock. It's Crackerjack, and I was about 8.
Right.
And there was a group called Marmalade on, and I got a Crackerjack pencil. I mean, honestly, I'm 57. We are taking it back quite a long time, frankly.
Wow.
So that was
early start to your TV career, though, Andy.
A really early start to my career. As a grown-up, I think the first time I was ever on TV, I think I did like Top of the Pops or something.
Well, no, yeah. Hang on. Were you in The Young Ones, the comedy show from the 80s?
I was in The Young Ones. I'm in an episode of The Young Ones, looking like I'm so young. I look like a hamster because I've got these like little fat baby cheeks, and I'm dancing around looking with my little hamster face. It's quite cute, really, but it's one of those things. It's kind of followed me round my whole life. People are like, "Hey, Young Ones."
Andi Oliver.
Hello.
Our researchers have been digging up some information about you. Please, if you could just tell us what they've uncovered is true or scurrilous lies, okay?
Okay.
Andi Oliver started hosting dinner parties at the age of 12.
The first dinner party I had, I was like 12 or 13. This is true. What a weird kid, right?
Do kids have dinner parties? Do you mean like nuggets or?
No. I roasted a whole chicken.
What?
And I made jacket potatoes. But you did that thing, stuffed jacket potatoes. So I made the jacket potatoes, took all the insides out, mixed it up with cheese and little herbs and garlic, and put it back in, and then baked them again. I saw it in a book, basically, and I was determined to make these delicious looking, crispy, cheesy jacket potato things that I saw. So I did that, and I knew how to roast a chicken because I used to make roast dinners every weekend I used to do the roast every Sunday with my mum and dad. So I already knew how to roast a chicken, and then I made these stuffed jacket potatoes, and I can't remember what the green vegetable was, but there was something. And I made my poor friends come round and sort of have a dinner party.
Right, I can't do that now.
Imagine a group of 12-year-olds there. Andi Oliver's there, 12-year-old Andi Oliver just carving up the chicken like massive knife on those forks.
Here's some wine.
yes. Cocktails, anybody?
Scott Mills and Chris Stark on 5 Live.
That time a celebrity came to your school. Caroline, who were you lucky enough to have at yours?
It was the Scove himself, Philip Schofield.
Whoa.
I know.
What's he doing on a school tour?
Yeah, in what capacity was he there? Car business or what was he doing?
Yeah, there was a competition going around. I think it was on the BBC. And school kids were collecting bottle tops, and our school collected the most amount of bottle tops, and he was the prize. He came to the school to congratulate everyone.
Well, did any child get to meet Philip Schofield, or was there a sort of ring of steel around him?
To be honest, I don't know. I think probably he went to the prep school and did his thing, but then as he was coming out, all the older girls saw him and just totally mobbed him, and the headmistress was mortified because it wasn't very ladylike behaviour.
You forget, but in the 80s, he was quite a heartthrob, actually.
Was he? I wasn't about.
He was.
Yeah.
He was like the man, and like he had Gordon Gopher. he wasn't with them, unfortunately.
What do you mean?
No.
Like, I think he's a really good presenter. Like, I really like him. But are you saying that he was a sort of pin-up?
Yeah.
Was he?
Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
No,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was a good-looking sort of, not elderly, but elder gentleman. I
wasn't
wasn't aware he
elderly
was.
then.
No, but
no.
I know he wasn't elderly, but
No, this was
Oh,
before
I've been
his
shown a
Silver
photo.
Fox days. Yeah, he was hot. He was almost like Tom Cruise, like, and he had a brown leather jacket on, and
Yes.
he just looked so good.
He looked famous.
He did.
If I was at that school, I would have definitely been one of the ones mobbing.
Yeah, girls were even hanging out of windows because classes were still going on. Girls were hanging out of windows to get to see him.
And was he the most exciting person that ever came to your school?
Hands down. I actually can't think of anyone else. Well, actually, there was a astronaut who I'm not sure if he'd been on the moon, but yeah, this was so much better.
You're not sure if he'd been on the moon?
I'm not going to say it was Buzz Aldrin, but I don't know. It might not.
So Buzz Aldrin turned up at your school and no one was bothered.
Care.
It
Buzz
might
Aldrin.
not have been him. I might have got the name wrong, but it's definitely not on the level of Philip Schofield.
I would have been the same. We've been asking you, what's the weirdest thing you've done at work? Mark?
Good morning, how are you?
Yeah, good. So was it a normal job, but once you had to do something quite odd?
Yeah, it was a temp job I had quite a few years ago now, so it wasn't like my full-time job, but the job I had to do was quite weird.
Mark, where was the job?
The job was at the MI5 buildings in Vauxhall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with this. Because I never see people go in or out. It's always like, to me, it's like Willy Wonka's factory. And I've passed there a few times and I just always want to see people leave or go in so I can sort of, work out which ones are the spies or not. So, and you were in there.
Well, that was one of the weird things. Even getting in and out of the building was like a sort of weird adventure in and of itself. It was like, on Star Trek when they stand on that thing and they get beamed away somewhere. It was kind of a bit like that. It was a bit like that because you had to go into like this sort of tube. So you would enter one half of the tube, it would close behind you, and then the front half of the tube would open up once you'd been kind of scanned to see if you had any weapons on you or anything like that.
So a bit like Take Me Out, where you...
A bit like Take Me Out, yeah, a bit like that without Paddy, what's his face.
Or they also have that at Pure Gym. Same thing, where the doors open and you can pretend that you are on Take Me Out or in the MI5 building.
First question, are you a spy? Or are you not allowed to say?
No, I'm not a spy. It was just a temp. Just a temp job.
If you were a spy, like you wouldn't be calling Five Live. Or if you were calling Five Live, you weren't a very good one.
I'm just going to sit back. Just tell us the story. Just go for it.
Okay, so basically, they hired me and two other guys. One guy called Robert Charlton, who I used to call Bobby Charlton, and a 16-year-old kid who wouldn't leave me alone. He was kind of obsessed with me and followed me everywhere and wouldn't let me have my lunch on my own or anything like that. He got right on my nerves. So there was three of us. They were moving loads of stuff at the time. They were moving storage facilities from one place to the other. So they had, do you remember the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they put the Ark in a crate in a massive warehouse?
Yeah.
So they had a warehouse like that. So all you could see from the front to the back, and it was about the size of 4 football pitches, were tons and tons and tons, like thousands of lockers, little filing cabinets, cupboards, like little drawer units, all these things, and they were all locked, right? So that was in the warehouse. In another room, there was like, I can't even remember how many boxes were, but there was boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of single loose keys. So the job they wanted me, Bobby Charlton, and this annoying 16-year-old to do was basically take keys from the room with the keys to the warehouse with all the units in and all the drawers and everything, take a key out of the box, look at its serial number, and then walk around this massive warehouse trying to find which key fitted which unit. Yeah, and the only way you could do it was by looking. You just had to walk around, bend over or stand on your tiptoes or whatever it needed to try and find the serial number on the lock of these different things, then find a key that matched it.
So hang on, when you had the key and you're trying all these boxes or kind of areas that the keys go into, did you manage to get one open?
In 3 weeks, I found 2. But believe me, that was like a miracle. That was like winning the lottery. The other 2 guys didn't find any.
My God, it's ultimate storage hunters. What was in there?
Well, it only happened twice. So when I found the ones that fitted these 2 keys, I had to radio someone to come from wherever they came from. They would come down and take that unit and that key away somewhere, and then they would go through whatever was in it. I wasn't allowed to see.
Guys, don't tell Stephen Mulhern this story because this will be a new ITV Saturday night show if he gets his hands on it or hears about it, okay?
It just seems mad to me that all these secret files could be in such a shambles of a system that 3 people, including a quite annoying 16-year-old and Bobby Charlton, have to come along. And the security of this great nation is left to you to kind of sort through boxes of keys to see what fits. Like, it's mad.
Good morning and Happy New Year. Scott and Chris here with some memories from way back in the year 2021. And here's one of Chris's finest guest introductions ever.
And now, the Irish News described them as like a married version of Ant and Dec, but with more swearing. Let's say good morning to Chris and Rosie Ramsey. Best intro ever.
Is that true?
Apparently so, man.
Right, you know how some people have like live, laugh, love on their wall? We need that on our wall.
Above the door.
Chris and Rosie, our researchers have been busy finding out dirt about you, so please tell us what they found is true or false.
Okay.
If you want to find Chris Ramsey, he'll be sitting outside his local pub most days.
Ooh, in recent days that is true. In recent days that is true. We've I've got a nice new local pub, and it's becoming me regular haunt.
Right. And how long are you there for then?
When you move house, you go and find the local, don't you? It's got to be done. It's like part of the joy.
We moved during the lockdown, and every single person I spoke to and told where we lived, they kept saying the local pub is amazing, and it was like torture because it was closed. Yeah. And everyone kept saying how amazing this pub was, and now I found it, and it is awesome. But I went for
nearly every day.
I've been quite a lot, yeah. But I went for a bike ride with my son, and obviously my son was 4 when the lockdown happened, and all pubs had been closed. So I kept saying to him, "Should we go to the pub?" And he was really excited. He didn't know what it was, and he kept saying to me, "Dad, let's go to the pub." And I was like, "This is amazing. I've got him brainwashed. This is fantastic." He went there and quickly realised that going to the pub was just him sitting while Daddy had beer, and he's never been since. So
now, right, here's an interesting one. Rosie Ramsey, true or false, once duetted with Ed Sheeran on a Nickelback song.
Oh, that's true.
That is true. That is true. Did it for a charity night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Ed came up and did a charity night for Click Sargent, the children's cancer charity, because we had a death in the family, and he came up and did a full on. He was going to do 20 minutes, and he did like an hour and a half of new songs and stuff. And Rose had to jump on and sing with him because she just couldn't be left out.
I couldn't let him come and not sing with him, and he was gracious enough to let us. So I was over the moon.
Right, I'm hearing that we can play a bit of. Well, let's hear the original first. Here we go. What a song!
Tune.
And now let's hear the Rosie Ramsey and Ed Sheeran version of Hero.
And they say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait.
Hello, excellent voice. I didn't know how. I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't aware you were a singer.
Hello.
The more people find out about Rosie, the more sort of talentless I do seem in comparison.
Chris is gutted now that people are starting to actually look at what I used to do, because I think he just liked us to be his wife.
Yeah, I liked the world to believe that she was simply riding me coattails, but the truth seems to be coming to the forefront a lot more recently.
Incredible.
It's doing me nothing.
Thanks, guys.
Good morning, Amy.
Good morning.
We're talking about excuses this morning. Now, this is one you were told, right?
Yeah, I was actually given this excuse as a teacher. I'm a teacher.
Oh, this is. I mean, there's a whole.
These are going to be.
There's a whole world of these ones, surely, because teachers have to experience more excuses than most.
Yeah, I'm a PE teacher as well, so there's loads coming all the time.
Okay, let's hear it. See if it's better than my ones.
Okay, swimming. I had a letter from a year 5 girl, so she's 8 or 9, from her mum to say that can she be excused from swimming because if she drinks too much water, she won't eat her lunch.
As if she's some sort of whale or something, like just like loads of water in her mouth filtering out the fish. You know, it doesn't actually work like that.
I used to try and get out of swimming at least once a month.
Yeah, you had a weird experience swimming at school though, because you've told me this before. Tell me what the rumours were. Was this Crestwood?
There were whole rumours about how you might be able to get pregnant.
No, so but by swimming upstream with someone that was swimming backwards
if you'd
stroke
just
or
done
something.
if you'd just done backstroke and a boy had done a front stroke in the same lane.
Yeah, there was concerns
might
that
get you pregnant.
So stupid.
And I certainly didn't want to risk that.
All right, we're talking about things that you may have missed out on, but there's a really dull reason why you have. Good morning, Duncan.
Good morning. Hi. I had a bad experience back in '96 where I missed out on going out for the evening with George Michael and his record company because I went to a friend's party instead.
What were you doing? So how did you end up in a situation where you were invited? Where should we start with this? Take us back.
Okay. The background to it was I was working at HMV as promotions manager at the time, and Music Week called me to ask me for a quote on what I thought of George Michael's new album, Older. And then when Music Week came out the following week, it was on the front page. So they absolutely loved it. They said it's spot on. It's exactly what we wanted to hear and publicise the album. So a couple of weeks later, they just sort of said, look, as a thank you, come on out and have dinner with George and the rest of the crew. And I was like, oh, great, of course I will. And then they said, oh, it's on Saturday, whenever. And I went, clashes with my mate's party. And up until today, I thought it must have been quite an important birthday. But it wasn't. I've just realised it wasn't even a birthday party. It was just a house party.
Oh.
And so I'd agreed to go to it. And the really annoying part at the end of it is when I turned up at my mate's house for the party, he was like, you're crazy. You shouldn't be here. You should be there.
Sliding doors moment there, my friend. You don't know what could have happened if you'd gone to that George Michael party.
Absolutely. I've got a bit of habit of doing things like that as well because I missed the Dini match as well.
You're another. Why do so many people contact this show saying they missed? I take it the Watford-Leicester game where Dini scored the famous goal. I don't know why we get so many messages from people on this.
It feels like everyone missed that.
Everyone missed that game.
I've supported them 42 years, and I've been a season ticket holder for God knows how many years. I don't know, 20-odd years. I've been to all the big games. Unfortunately, I decided to have a double heart bypass that week.
Oh, I mean, that is quite important.
Yeah, but the dull reason was I was lying there in ICU trying to listen to it on a medium wave radio, and it was drifting in and out, as was I, from consciousness.
Oh, mate, but it can't have been good for the heart.
Yeah, I heard there's a penalty at the end, and I didn't know whether it was for Watford or for Leicester. So 5 days later, I find out the result. And you can imagine.
That's incredible.
I didn't know. I knew there was a penalty, but I couldn't work out who it had been for. And I didn't get to see my family for several days. So, how are you when they come and see me? Firstly, I'm like, who won the match?
No, what an amazing story. So for a few days you were just totally out of it, but that was the first thing when you sort of came back.
It was so frustrating because I was just conscious enough to know there was something really important had happened, but not conscious enough to know exactly what the consequence was.
That is incredible. What a story. You know, first thing you say coming back, did Watford get through? Incredible.
Absolutely.
Priorities, mate.
My kids were dying to tell me because they of course had gone, and they still to this day tease me about it. Every time Dini Day comes round, they're like, oh, do you remember it? Oh, no, you don't, because you weren't there.
Do you know it's called this, Scott? It's become something called Dini Day. So every year it's celebrated, with that bit of commentary and Troy Deeney scoring that goal. It's become a bit of a sort of annual Watford day.
It is. It's a national, well, not a national holiday, a Hertfordshire holiday.
Should I be getting you a card in future for Dini Day?
Yeah.
Can you get those?
Yeah, can we start this?
That's a great idea.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark on 5 Live.
Good morning, it's the best time of the week, Saturday morning with Scott and Chris, the first of 2022. It's kind of a different show this morning. We're playing you some of our favourite bits from the show back in 2021.
God, we're in 2022 now, are we?
That's right.
That's mad. Like, I've just had that realisation. For me, that feels like that should still be in the future. But it's not.
It's
happening,
now.
people.
It's
We're
now.
in 2022. The hilarious James Blunt is coming up, and Sam Fender, who had literally woken up just a few seconds before speaking to us. It was gold.
And nearly managed to cancel himself in the process.
We'll also have another kid reviewer and loads more of your stories. Now, I should say this, don't text us this morning. We're not in the studio, so we're not going to see your message.
But if you want to email us at any time, maybe we can use it on a future show. Scott and Chris at bbc.co.uk. Email. One thing I love about your stories is you never quite know what twists and turns they're going to take. Listen to this.
I believe we can speak to Alex now. He's got some interesting football memorabilia. I think he got it signed as well. Is this true, Alex?
I didn't get it signed, no, but it's not the type of thing you really get signed in the situation.
Oh, right. Intrigues already. What is it?
It is a shower gel from a football player.
Wow. Okay, let's rewind on this. How's this come about?
So I got the opportunity to play at Vicarage Road. It was from one of Watford's sponsors. And I turned up for the day, not really expecting much. Soon to realise I was playing alongside a lot of Watford legends. I'm not sure Scott will know some of these people, but I think you will, Chris. People kind of like Alex Chamberlain, Tommy Smith, and in particular Lloyd Doyley.
Great. Amazing.
It's generally, I think, the best game I've ever played in my life. I was like, I can't be terrible in front of these people. I've adored them since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I made one mistake. And Alex Chamberlain, who was the goalkeeper, he shouted at me so much. And this is in a charity game, and he's absolutely going mental at me just because I'd made one mistake at left back it was one goal.
Okay, amazing. So you're doing this game, surrounded by Watford legends. You feel like you're putting in a good performance. You obviously, I imagine, want to have a few mementos from that day. So is this where this is all heading?
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously the game finishes and you hop for a shower after the game. So a lot of the players have gone in. I mean, I've stayed out to get a few kind of momentous photographs, which are souvenirs in themselves.
What, in the shower?
Scott suddenly piqued his interest. Up until then, it was just chat about a charity football match.
Oh, sorry, I just woke up.
Sorry. I was about to say I've not heard from Scott in a couple of minutes. Was he all right?
No, I was just taking it all in.
Sorry. So yeah, I got a few photos of me on the pitch. I've lost my train of thought now. I've lost a few pictures of me on the pitch, and then I've headed into the changing rooms a bit late, and I've got undressed, gone in the shower, and I'm sort of like stood in the shower, and then I hear a voice behind me saying, "That was a good game, wasn't it, Alex?" And it was Lloyd Doyley. And I know they say that age-old thing, never meet your heroes. I think I'm going to take that one step further and go never meet your heroes naked in the shower. Because that was an experience.
Oh, that's incredible. I would pay good money for that experience.
Yeah.
Lloyd Doyley is one of my favourite players of all time.
You pay money to see him naked?
If there was an option, I'm aware how weird this sounds, but if there was an option for me to be in the Watford changing room showers with Lloyd Doyley, I'd pay genuine good money for it. What a play! What a moment that would be!
Yeah.
I'm not in any other way other than it's just meeting a legend in a way that is so unusual, isn't it?
It would be an ideal red letter day, wouldn't it?
They just don't offer that sort of thing. Maybe this is what we need to set up as a show. Is like alternative meeting legends scenarios. Like
you've never seen him before.
Lloyd Doyley in the shower for someone listening. And then maybe we go to another club and it's like, yeah, Alex, this is great. Okay, so you're with Lloyd Doyley in the shower. Things are good. Life is peaking for you, Alex, isn't it?
So yeah, I've sort of gone, I've forgotten my shower gel. And he's gone, you can borrow mine, mate, no worries.
Lloyd Doyley passes you the soap. What happens next?
So I guess I've just sort of was using it, and then I went to sort of go and give it back to him. And obviously he's left the shower and he's kind of got changed, and I thought, you know what, I'm having this. Put that in my bag. taking it. And like I say, it wasn't necessarily signed, but
Should
I feel
have
like
got it
it's sort
signed. Alex, I can make this happen.
Can you?
I can make this happen.
Can you actually?
Just making dreams come true. Don't worry about it.
Brilliant. This would just tie the bow for me.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark on 5 Live.
This is 5 Live, and Nikki is about to tell us the most famous person that came to her school.
It was Take That. They came to our school in about 1992, so I was in 5th form. Me and my friends were in 5th form.
Take That were one of those bands that used to do a lot of school tours, so they would go around and try and get fans at schools, you know, and then the fans would buy their CDs.
Yeah, but we were too cool to go in to buy into that promotion, and we chose not to see them in the drama hall and went to a friend's house for lunch instead.
What? So you missed Take That?
Yeah, we did, because you know we were at that age where we were.
Oh yeah,
we thought we were too cool.
Yeah, you were like, you'd Take That. Yeah, we like Nirvana.
Yeah.
That's what you were
Exactly.
like.
But imagine being that fussy at school. The idea, because you don't get many guests at school, do you? You don't get many.
No, exactly. How often do the likes of Take That turn up at people's schools?
Too cool for Take That.
Yeah, and we could see them driving. Like, I've got a memory of Mark Owen waving, and we just walked.
Now, can I ask, when they was this driving away from the school or driving to the school?
No, to the school. They were coming into the school.
Now, can I ask, were they in a van or like a people carrier?
Yeah.
Was there a little bald man driving?
I can't remember that.
Because here's the thing. The little bald man that used to drive Take That to their school gigs is now the man that drives me and Chris to our DJ gigs.
Yeah.
Real.
But he claims he did Take That, but I've always never believed it, if I'm totally honest.
Don't say that.
So I never believed it.
In Washington, Tyne Weir. That could be him.
I didn't believe it. So what I was interested here, Nikki, was that you might have seen him firsthand.
No, I can't recall the driver, I'll be honest.
Also, Chris, he wasn't bald then.
He had hair?
Have you not seen the pictures?
But don't you find that wild when you've only ever known someone to be bald, and then you see a picture of them with hair?
Yeah.
Mate, he had a full head of hair.
It's wild.
It's a different person.
I can't imagine that. You show me a photo of him with hair.
He has shown me photos of him with hair, and it's not like a Photoshop job. He's honestly,
it's real hair.
But I think this with all people. It'd be the same with, I don't know if Kalina is. I don't know if he was the same, or even
did
Mike
he ever
Dean.
have hair? Kalina? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, we just wondered if you remembered the man who was driving. But no.
Just Mark Owen really raving out.
Yeah.
So you were too cool for Take That.
Yeah,
Did you ever
far too
go and
cool.
see them in concert in
Naturally,
adulthood?
yeah. I mean, yeah. We as a full adult, I've been to see them at the Sunderland Stadium of Light a few times. Yes.
That's hilarious. But at the time, you were like, no.
Yeah. It is a decision I regret.
It only takes a minute, girl.
Keep your stories coming in. Email us anytime. scottandchris@bbc.co.uk, and we can maybe use your story on a future show. One of my favourite ever guests now, it's Sam Fender.
When you're playing a gig, are you always in the moment, or is there a point?
Absolutely not.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, do you zone out? I'm fascinated to know this. Let's say you're on your 95th gig of the tour, right? And you're doing, you know the song, like you haven't got any stage fright, and like you're singing along, but in your head, you're going, no, I need to do that Ocado shop. Did I turn my oven off?
Yeah, so it literally happened on one of the first gigs back.
and the songs are like muscle memory normally, so like you normally don't worry about it. And I started drifting off in the middle of Saturday, and actually completely, by the time I got to the second verse, I had a mind fart, completely forgot the first two lines of a song which I've sung literally 1,000 times. It was purely because I remembered that I needed to ring my gran back.
There we
'Cause I
go.
hadn't called me gran back, and it was like a quick thing of like, oh, I better ring me gran back, and then it was like straight into the second verse. I was like, oh God, what's the words to this song? Which I've
Yeah,
sung
and then,
1,000 times.
but then Sam, you accidentally start singing, you know, oh, I need to ring my
I need to
gran
ring my
back.
gran back.
Like, to cover the mistake.
Now, Sam Fender, it's always good to have you on whatever show we do. Now, our researchers have been finding out some dirt. So if you can just tell me if what they've dug up here, probably by Googling you and going to the news tab, is true or
Well,
false.
mate, the news tab's absolutely. I've had 2 headlines this week which are absolute lies.
Okay, well, let's see if any of those are these are them. Sam Fender often does a karaoke duet with his guitarist Dean. They sing "Left Outside Alone" by Anastasia.
Tune.
That's absolutely true.
What's
That's
the
completely
song?
true.
See,
It's an absolute banger.
It is, and everyone always goes for "I'm Out of Love" with Anastasia, whereas you're sleeping on "Left Outside Alone," in my opinion.
I think "Left Outside Alone's" 10 times sassier.
Yeah.
I need to hear that. That's got to be a live lounge at some point, Sam. Let's make that happen.
It's not good if it's it's like literally I'm talking like 10 tequilas deep in the booth in Cozy Joe's on the big market in Newcastle. Like
Maybe that's a build for the live lounge, you know, Scott.
Next fact. David Furnish told Sam Fender he should be an actor.
Right, so this is one of the headlines, which is like absolute rubbish. David Furnish says I should go do some acting at some point, and I says that would be great fun. I might go and do that. And the headlines everywhere is like, Sam Fender's going to quit music completely.
You have done a bit of acting before, haven't you? You were in Vera, that show.
No.
Yeah, mate. I was the first. I was the first ever person to be killed on Vera. The literally first episode. I don't make it past the opening credits.
Good morning.
Love Sam. It's Scott and Chris on the first Saturday morning of 2022. Good morning. Another child reviewer coming up. We'll also chat with Paddy McGuinness and James Blunt, plus more of your brilliant stories from the last 12 months. Like Katie, who spoke to us back in March.
Last week on the show, Scott was telling us all about how he wants to go on a French exchange. And you went as far as naming some places, which was a bizarre moment last week, Scott, where we basically just heard you listing places in France that you'd like to visit.
Yeah, mostly the south of France. Northern France, as you know, I don't really care for. But yeah.
Well, good news. We can speak to Katie now, who'll be able to offer a bit of advice on this topic. Good morning, Katie.
Morning.
You've been on a French exchange, yeah?
I have, yeah. I went to Decazeville in the middle of France. She came over to me first. And yeah, our house is like a normal house. And then I went over to her and she's got an amazing house with a pool.
Chateau
with a pool. And she's got an amazing older brother as well that was like stunning.
Scott's interest has peaked. This is the dream, isn't it, Scott? This is the French exchange as you imagine it.
Absolutely. Zut alors.
So, okay, break it down.
So she came to your house, which you described as, you know, like a normal everyday house. You go over there, she's got a pool and a hot brother. Were you loving life?
I was until it got embarrassing. Chris, did you go on any excursions?
Yeah, there was a few. Yeah, I went to Classic German. I went to a car factory. It was like peak German. There was a great one. There was a parade at one point.
Well, we were made to go on excursions and we didn't have a choice. We just had to go. We didn't actually know where we were going either. So on this particular day, this is where I feel really bad about this because I've not ever told anybody. Like my mum and dad don't know, and my husband, I've been married 10 years and he doesn't even know either.
It's not the French pool guy, is it?
No, unfortunately.
Okay.
No, it's lovely.
Oh, I'm so excited for this. Right, Katie,
here we
talk
go,
us
guys.
through what's happened.
So I'm in the top bedroom and the hot French guy is next to me in the opposite bedroom, but like we share a bathroom in the middle. So obviously I had breakfast, came back. Bear in mind I'm 14, so anything's embarrassing, but like having to go to the toilet's embarrassing. So went to the toilet anyway, and I couldn't flush it. It just wouldn't flush. And I wish I'd have just gone for number 1, but I went for number 2 and it wouldn't flush. And then they're shouting me in French, like, allez, allez, or whatever they say. And I'd got to go on this excursion.
Oh, God, you're so like me. This is extraordinary.
So then I have to leave the toilet and I'm just praying that this fit older brother doesn't go to the toilet after me and just see that I broke the toilet and the toilet's, in the state that it's in.
Numero 2.
Numero 2.
Okay, so what happens?
So then I go on the excursion and it's all day and then we get back. I run straight upstairs, obviously, to try and do something with this toilet. And I hear these like banging and crashing about in the toilet. And I walks in, I'm thinking, oh God, it's the fit older brother. And it's not, thank God. But even worse, it's the dad. And he's really stressed. He's like really stressed at me that I've done something to this toilet and start shouting at me in French. And I didn't understand what he was saying, but it was probably some plumbing terminology that I wasn't aware of. But they don't like Duolingo. They don't have that on Duolingo, do they? Like
no. Or Cafe de Rev. Yeah, they don't. You're right.
And then obviously I've got to live with that embarrassment that I broke the toilet and I've got another 2 days with this family and you can't get away from them. Like you're stuck with them, aren't you?
Did your exchange put you off France?
Not off France, but because I was 14, I was just embarrassed about going back. And my mum's like, why don't you want to talk? Her name was Katia. Why don't you want to talk to Katia anymore? And why don't you want to go back to France anymore? And I could never tell her why. But yeah.
See, Scott, we need to get you this exchange as soon as we can get back to this sort of thing.
Well, I was going to say, I've got all this to come.
It's going to be so fun.
But the weather's good in France, isn't it? Like when they come over here, when they come over here, I almost feel a bit disappointed for them because like the weather's not as good, is it? And you try and do stuff that's interesting. Oh, I remember we took her to the beach. So we took her to Whitby when she was over here, and she looked.
Oh yeah, how was it? How was it for her? What was the home leg like? Oh my God,
she picked up the sand right in her hand, and it was like a brown mud colour. And she went, "What is this?" And I went.
Love it.
It's sand.
It's Whitby sand.
She went, no, this is not sand. Sand is yellow.
Well, she's got a point.
Yeah, this is Whitby. This is Whitby, and it's.
And Chris Stark on 5 Live.
It's time for kids review their parents' record collection. Good morning, Daisy.
Morning.
How old are you then?
I'm 11.
Congratulations. And whose music collection have you been listening to this week?
My mum's.
Okay, what's your mum's name?
Stephanie.
Stephanie. Can I call her Steph, or doesn't she like that?
No, people call her Steph, so you can call her Steph.
All right. Hi, Steph. And I can hear... Hi, Steph. Are you there? You were there?
Hi.
Yeah, hi. Daisy, what's your mum like?
She's caring.
Yeah.
She can be a bit scary when she's in a bad mood.
Right.
but she's a police officer, so she keeps the country safe.
Does she sometimes threaten to arrest you if you're being naughty?
No, not that bad.
Which album from your mum's collection are you going to review for us this morning?
2 Unlimited.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What's the album called?
No Limits.
Here it is. Daisy, I'm really surprised that your mum's even admitted to owning this album. Wow. From what I remember, they were from Holland, and this album, No Limits, was their second album, released in May 1993. I can tell you when Toby Anstis did a review of this in Smash Hits magazine, he stated that he thought the album sounded all the same. Daisy, your thoughts on that?
They do sound all the same.
They had a formula which worked, so they used it again.
Maximum overdrive.
And again.
Let the beat control your body. Let the beat control your
And again. What's your favourite track?
My favourite is No Limits.
Can you sing a bit for us, Daisy?
Yeah, it's quite easy.
Yeah, it is easy. Yeah, go.
No, 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 no. No, 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 no. There's no limit. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. There's no limit.
That's it. That's the song.
That is the most embarrassing thing I've ever done in my whole life.
I'm sorry. What's this song about?
I'm guessing No Limits.
Yeah. I mean, they don't give us much clue because there are no other lyrics. How would you describe the music of 2 Unlimited to someone who's never heard it before?
Speedy.
Yes.
It sounds like it would give you a seizure.
Yes.
And happy. Like there's no sad, depressing song, really.
When would be a good time, do you think, to play this album?
When you're drunk.
It would sound better.
Yeah.
Are there any other songs on the album that you like?
I like Tribal Dance.
Let's have a bit of that.
You've got to move it, feel the temperature into the rhythm, let the fire burn.
What's this one about?
Dancing.
This morning on 5 Live, Daisy is listening to her mum's record collection. For some reason, in 1993, Mum Steph purchased No Limits, the album by 2 Unlimited.
Stop laughing.
Let's talk about the tracks on the album that you don't like.
Well, to be honest, I don't really have a least favourite.
Really?
Yeah, because they all sound the same, so they're kind of all good, if you get what I mean.
Right, I understand. So, I mean, like, you've heard one, you've heard them all, so they're all good.
Yes.
Is there anything they could have done to make the album better?
Make them all sound a bit different.
Yes, I'll give you that.
More words.
Yeah.
More instruments.
Everywhere I go, different faces I see.
Do you know what? Anita and Ray are still performing all of these songs at a holiday camp near you. I've seen them with my own eyes because I've also been on at that holiday camp.
A holiday camp?
Yeah, you know, like Butlins, Pontins.
That's a bit of a downgrade.
Well, you might say that. They've got to pay the rent somehow, haven't they?
Yeah.
I'm just looking up 2 Unlimited's tour dates if you fancy going to see them. Would that be something that would interest you, Daisy?
Yeah, I could take my mum. She could feel like 20 again.
Great news. They're playing Oslo, Norway on April the 1st, 2022.
Where's Norway?
Where do you live?
Leicestershire.
It's kind of up and to the right.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
No worries. All right, it's time for the final score. Your grade, please, Daisy, from A to E for Two Unlimited's album, No Limits.
C.
Slap bang in the middle there, a C. Not great, not terrible. I was expecting worse, to be honest, Daisy.
Yeah, but you can dance when you're happy to them. They're not depressing like Prince's album.
Well, maybe you'll come on another time and review one of those for us.
No, thank you.
Oh, okay, fine. All right, well, let's hear a bit more Two Unlimited. Thank you for doing a review this morning. You've been brilliant.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a good weekend, and let's hear a bit more Two Unlimited. An A-star review there from Daisy, and full marks to Daisy's mum Steph for letting the whole nation know that she bought that album. If you have a child who'd be great at reviewing your old CDs, let us know. We'd love to speak to them. Scott and Chris at bbc.co.uk. That's our email.
We've got some of our favourite bits of the show for you this morning. Still to come, James Blunt, Paddy McGuinness, and a woman who nearly had Mr. T round for Christmas dinner.
This morning, we're talking about that time when you appeared on television. Jake, how was it for you?
Yeah, it was quite good. I managed to direct my brother over an obstacle course dressed as a 7-foot giant bunny to win 10 grand.
What show was this?
So it was a show called Wild Things. It was on Sky One, and basically it was just a bunch of people dressed up in wildlife animal costumes, and the aim of the game was to get to the end and win some money, basically.
What a mad idea for a show. How much did you win?
We won 10 grand.
Whoa, nice. Nice.
It was worth it. It was worth the humiliation, in a sense.
Absolutely.
Did it inspire you to go on any other shows? Because sometimes when you win on these, you're like, oh, you get a thirst for it. It's like, I'm going to apply for everything.
There is that thirst, isn't there? I mean, it's an addiction in a sense. Yeah, we've done a couple more. Me and my brother have done a couple more. I've done one on my own as well. So, and I'll still apply for as many as I possibly can. You get a taste for it. Like, there are a lot of people that apply for these shows literally all the time, aren't there? Yeah, I mean, you could probably do it as a profession if you were that good. Yeah. What else have you been on then? So I did a game show called First and Last. That was on BBC One. Yeah. That was another crazy one. I think the opening to the show, I had to stand there with a bucket on my head. Oh, you'll do anything. Did you win any money on that? Yeah, I won on that one as well, actually.
How much you get for that?
It's BBC, it won't be much.
So I won £7,923. Oh, I can see why you keep applying.
He's earning more money from TV than us.
Incredible. That's not hard. And anything else?
So we recently was on Lingo, which was on ITV.
Yes, I love Lingo.
How are you getting on them all? Why are you so special?
I thought do you know what I mean? You just apply. You've got to have that personality about you, and you just get into a sort of role of going, right, I kind of know what they want, what they expect.
Oh my gosh, it's the coughing major, everyone. It's the modern day coughing major we're speaking to here.
What's next?
Do you know what? There isn't actually that much. I've applied for a Celebability, but we've not heard back from that, so I don't think I'll be getting on that one. But apart from that, the normal big ones, Tipping Point I've applied for, which, I don't know, again, you just got to wait and see with them.
Everyone's trying that, though. Go for one of the slightly more niche ones, Tenable or something like that. No one really watches, I don't think, but, you know.
What's the dream? Are you going to say The Chase?
I'll be The Chase, won't it? Surely.
I'm not a general quizzer, if I'm honest. I mean, I'm just a make a fool of yourself and hopefully win a bit of dosh here and there.
I respect the effort that you're going into here, you know.
Boys, can I just give a quick shout out to Sands United, Brighton and Hove?
Oh, yeah, we love the Sands United lot, yeah. Do you want to quickly shout out what it is they do?
Yeah, so Sands United is teams that are made up predominantly of dads who have unfortunately lost a child at some point, whether it be during a pregnancy, after the pregnancy, and all the teams, they just all come together and are playing football in the memory. We have our names of our little ones on our chests, and yeah, it's the support network that we get with them is absolutely amazing. But if there is anybody out there that is in that situation, then just search it online, and any of the teams will be able to direct you in the right location for it.
Yeah, it's amazing, and they're all over the UK as well. So yeah, you can just search for them. Sands United. It's great to give them a shout out. I've also got to say to you, just so you know, for full transparency, you're not being paid to appear on this show. If you were expecting a fee like some of the other shows that you've been on, just clear that up now.
Absolutely.
Before he invoices. Good to talk.
Nice to speak to you, boys. Take care.
Staying on the subject of TV appearances, here's a bit from when Paddy McGuinness was on the show.
Now, we're talking about today, the first time you were ever on TV. Dan has been on. See if you can remember this, Paddy. He says, that time I was on TV, I beat a few pensioners to win 10 grand on Amazing Grays. Paddy McGuinness was magic, although it didn't get a second series. What's Amazing Grays?
Amazing Grays.
Oh, Amazing Grays was
Great
a
name.
series I did for ITV back in the day. And this is no word of a lie. A week before I were filming it, we were due to do it, a week before, one of the execs said, we're going to give you a co-host. I went, who? They went, Angela Rippon. I went, of course. I said, because that, for me, is the perfect double act. Me and a newsreader from the 70s.
That's right.
I said, what could possibly go wrong here?
It's a perfect match. It was the collab that no one needed, or one they didn't know they needed.
It's an FA Cup draw. It's amazing.
It was basically Bobby Ball and Margaret Thatcher hosting a show. So I was, and listen, lovely lady, absolute diamond she was, the Rips. But I was like, it was just one of them. You know what it's like telling you stuff like that, and you think you're scratching your head sometimes, going, "What has happened here?"
Yeah.
But why didn't that partnership continue? Because for me, like Take Me Out was a led show, right? But it could only be improved by sort of Angela Rippon hosting it with you, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking of taking out Jimmy Carr from I Can See Your Voice and replacing it with Angela Rippon.
Yes, good idea.
Let me can I just ask, Amazing Grays, did you have to beat some pensioners? Oh, I think this is flooding back to me now. Like, it was like, basically, are you smarter than a pensioner, wasn't it?
No, basically what it was, people think pensioners, they see them as like Werther's eating old people who've never had a life. And a lot of these people have had amazing lives, and they've all been, some of them have been like fantastic athletes. So we got pensioners on who kind of like, say for instance, someone had won the 100 meters in 1950 whatever at the Olympics. So we'd bring them back on, and then we'll put them against a young person in their particular discipline.
Yeah, I remember this. So you had pensioners weightlifting.
No way.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember. It was brilliant. It's like, look at you, Darren. You're 22 and you're fit. Well, look at this 90-year-old. He can lift the same as you. It was brilliant. Bring it back. Give it a second series. Right, let's meet our quizmaster for this morning. Good morning, Charlotte.
Morning, Charlotte.
Good morning. Hello. Hi.
Good morning. Where are you?
I'm in Oxfordshire today.
Now, I hear that you have been on TV in an absolutely iconic show. Tell us.
I have. It's not often your most awkward moment gets shown to the nation. I was on Come Dine With Me.
Yeah, but what episode?
What a sad little life, Jane.
Oh, yes! My gosh. So, right, they said before that you were coming on. I was so excited. No offence, Paddy, but you must have seen this episode. It went everywhere. The mad thing was, I saw this episode when it went out on TV, and it just happened to catch this episode. And I was texting Scott. I was texting everyone, going, "This is the maddest episode of Come Dine With Me I've ever seen." You were the one. You're not Jane. You're the. No. Are you the lady where he says, "There's not much going on up there"?
That's me.
That's you. Right. Wait, guys. I've got the clips here. Let's enjoy it once more.
You won, Jane.
Oh my God.
Enjoy the money. I hope it makes you very happy. Dear Lord, what a sad little life, Jane.
Yeah. Iconic.
It gets worse. Every time I hear it, it gets worse.
Yeah.
Do you know what? For me, that was the glory days of that show.
Yeah. There's more.
You ruined my night. completely so you could have the money, but I hope now you spend it on getting some lessons in grace and decorum, because you have all the grace of a reversing dump truck without any tyres on. Well, you wouldn't, let's be honest. There's nobody in there, love.
Oh, that's you.
So, Jane,
That's
take
you.
your money and get off my property.
Amazing. Charlotte, that's you. You're the one.
That's it, and I still don't get it.
No. Oh,
An honour to speak to you, Charlotte.
I can't believe we're speaking to you, Charlotte. And you.
I can't believe I'm speaking to you.
Yeah, wow. Listen, what can we win this
Can I
morning?
just say I'm still here?
Oh,
sorry, Paddy.
And you.
No, that's all right. No,
And
it's
you,
okay.
Paddy, obviously.
You're all pleased to be speaking to each other.
Right, focus back on Paddy,
But
please.
I'm just here, mate. I'm here. I will make the numbers up. I don't mind.
That time a celebrity came to your school. Charlotte, hi.
Hi. So, back in 2001, we were told we were having a whole school assembly for some special guests. So we all got shuffled into the main hall, not knowing what to expect. And this promoter guy then gets up and starts bigging up this band, saying how they just started a TV show and they were the hot new thing in the UK. So at this, I'm 6 at this point, right? So I thought it was going to be S Club 7 because they just started
that
a
is my
TV
first
show.
thought.
Yeah, right. So you can almost imagine my surprise and maybe disappointment when the band All Stars come out instead.
Oh.
Do you remember who All Stars are?
Yeah,
I do. I remember they didn't have a song. They did a cover of "Land of Make Believe." You know, was it that one?
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bucks Fizz cover. Yeah.
I've got a story about that. I actually was with them when they found out they'd been dropped by their record label.
Oh, no way. Because they're only around for a year or so.
So why were you in the meeting?
I wasn't. It was weird. I just introduced them on a really small stage at Pride in London, and I was like, and here they are, All Stars. And then I came off stage. No, they did their performance, and then I kind of came back to see them. I was like, "Oh, how was it?" And one of them was crying, and I was like, "You all right?" And she's like, "No, we've just been dropped by a record label." I was like, "I'm sorry to hear that." So I think the news has broken to them on the phone, but iconic that I was there.
Yeah, well, that's what a lovely way to think of it. At least you were there.
Do you think they look at you and think, "Oh, I remember that day that I got dropped by my band label. Thanks a lot."
Yeah, well, I was really nice, and I consoled them, and I was like, "Oh, sorry to hear about this." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sure you get picked up by another one," but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, I hope they just remember, this little 6-year-old sat at the front, being
Slightly
a massive
disappointed that it
fangirl.
wasn't S Club 7.
Yeah.
And was that the best it got at your school, All Stars, or was there anyone else?
Yeah, unless you want to, bring politics in and add David Cameron into it, that was the best that you got around here.
Who went down better, David Cameron or All Stars?
Well, I think a lot of the older generation probably preferred him, but it was All Stars all the way, to be honest.
Mm. And were you there when David Cameron got dropped as well, Scott?
I wasn't, no, not
All Stars. No.
Oh, well.
Good to speak to you. Thanks for being on.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark on 5 Live.
Now for one of my favourite guests from last year. His biggest album was rated B+ by 7-year-old Ella earlier on. It's James Blunt. Please, if you could tell us if these facts that our researchers have dug up are true or false, James. You ready?
Okay, I'm looking forward. This is a Wikipedia research panel.
It's a deep dive. James Blunt refuses to use emojis and defines himself as an anti-emojiist.
A stringent anti-emojist, yes, totally.
So what do you do?
Correct.
Just like the little dots and then the arrow for the smiley face, do you?
Yeah, I mean, that's what, exactly. It's punctuation is for, isn't it? Exclamation mark says it all.
So if you find something funny, well, actually, no, I send this emoji more when I don't find something funny, but you need to make it look like you found something funny. You won't send the sort of crying, laughing emoji.
I mean, what's lol for?
Yeah, true.
Fair point.
That's actually really hurtful to me, Chris, because when I send you something that I think's funny, I just get a crying, laughing emoji back, which means you haven't found it amusing in the slightest.
It's just much easier to sort of just pacify you, isn't it?
Next one. James Blunt had his heart broken playing Kiss Chase at 4 years old, and he refused to ever play it again.
How did your researcher find that out? That's incredible. Yeah, I feel you're the first person who's ever realised that or said that publicly. That's embarrassing.
Was the researcher involved in the game? That's what we don't know.
Exactly. Also, I was just I was a slow runner as a child, so I just didn't enjoy the game very much.
The first gig that James Blunt ever attended was his own gig.
Stop it.
Genuinely true. That's terrible, isn't it? My parents didn't really like music. They thought music was just bad noise that would get in the way. And so we didn't have much music at home, as you can tell by my musical output. And so my first gig was my own at Water Rats in King's Cross, London.
Wow.
You'd never seen live music before that?
Never been seen, no.
So how did that play out for you then? Because that's kind of an iconic gig venue in its own right. And you've turned up with no sort of real idea about how it works, yeah? So you just made your own rules?
Well, yeah. I mean, all I had to do was just sing a few songs, didn't I? I mean, I was based at the Hyde Park Barracks, so I came directly from work. I think I was still wearing some ridiculous uniform. Took my jacket off. A whole lot of people. I think they all put down some pashminas and sat on the floor and held crossed hands and crossed arms. It was all a bit weird.
Final fact: James Blunt has purposefully ended relationships to get material for his music.
I mean, misery sells, and so I have found that if I'm too happy, I have nothing to write about and no income. So it's just always good to have a little stress at home, just surprise the wife or then girlfriend, with a little hey, it's over, and then see if you can get inspired.
I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? But then I guess there's always a positive in every negative situation.
That's exactly what I found with my last album. My father had a failing kidney and needed a kidney transplant, and so I wrote a song about that and put that out, and actually remarkably, people did then start offering me a kidney. But my father, who's now alive and well, got a second-hand kidney in him. I did speak to him recently, and he said, "I'm so sorry I didn't die, James, because it really would have meant you had a lot more income from one song."
Fast becoming the favourite guest I've ever had on the show. James Blunt here on 5 Live this morning.
Look who's alone now. It's not me. It's not me. Those three wise men, they've got a Sammy by the sea.
This morning, more stories on when you got fired. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
What happened?
So, Bradford City were playing Northampton in the playoff final in 2013, and I usually work between 3:30 and 10:30 at night. So it were a big game, and I decided to go and got a bit too drunk and ended up at the front of the stand at the bottom with my top off, and the cameras caught me.
It's a classic.
It's vintage. So you're not meant to be at the game? This is the reason you got fired, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I were meant to be in work at 3:30 in Northampton as well.
Right, okay. So
at least you didn't make yourself really visible by going to the front and taking your top off, Joe.
Yeah, I realised my errors when my brother texted me and said that Wembley are going to have to get a big screen that was wider because they couldn't fit my full body on.
So when you did get spotted by your boss, what was the point at which your boss got in touch?
I got called into the office and got told that there was a disciplinary, and he was chatting during that, and one of my friends had posted on my Facebook the picture from the game on the news, and he had a printout and he pushed it towards me. And then there were just no hiding away from that.
And were you on one of the major channels, BBC, ITV, Sky?
Yeah, we're on BBC News every hour.
So it wasn't even just like blink and you miss it stuff. You were highlights.
They're sending us the picture now. Oh, there he is. Oh, my God. He's literally in front of the camera.
You're the only one with your shirt off. Why are you the only one? It's amazing.
Joe, it couldn't have been more obvious.
What a guy. What a game, though.
Yeah, 3-0. And I tell you what, I'd do it again.
We've been asking you on the show in recent weeks, has anyone crawled through a ventilation system like they do in the movies in real life? Nobody's done that, apart from Jackie. Hiya.
Hello.
What do you mean?
Well, it was a long time ago. I didn't crawl quite through it. I was working at Edinburgh Playhouse in the 80s, and we had 2 nights of Alice Cooper, who had a boa constrictor with him, Elsa.
What was your job there then?
I was deputy manager at the time.
Oh, God, this has got trouble written all over it. Yes. This is amazing. Edinburgh Playhouse, boa constrictors, Alice Cooper. Perfect. Strap yourself in, everyone. Here we go.
Okay, so we're getting ready to let the audience in. They're all queuing up out on the street. And I get a radio message from backstage to say that Elsa's missing. And there was a handler with her. He had one job, but he'd popped to the green room to catering for his dinner, came back and she'd gone. So we just could not let the audience in because we didn't know where she was. You wouldn't want to sort of tip your seat up and find a boa constrictor underneath it. Absolutely so we had to literally hold the audience outside the building and comb the place from top to bottom, which did involve me sort of wedging my head and shoulders into a ventilation duct.
Oh, Jackie.
I know.
So are there announcements going on outside the Edinburgh Playhouse? Because people rightfully would want to know what's going on. So you having to say, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, you can't come in at the moment. There is a snake on the loose.
No, I think we just unforeseeable circumstances and all that. Just give us a minute. It only took about 15 minutes to find her because he had a theory that she would have gone looking for somewhere warm, hence the reason we were crawling into ducts.
Where was the snake found?
She'd headed for the boiler room where the heating system was, though, still backstage. Luckily, because you're kind of going through the auditorium, tipping seats up thinking, I don't want to find this snake, really. Please don't let it be me.
Could I just say, this story could not be more 1985 if it tried. Yes. Bringing a snake on tour with you, sleeping in an oxygen tank. It's so 1980s. Loving it.
Just answer me this, yes or no, just for now. Is that the wildest thing that you saw at the Edinburgh Playhouse?
Probably not.
No?
You've seen some things, haven't you?
The company I worked for, we had venues all up and down the country, so I moved around quite a lot, but I spent about 7 years as general manager of the Empire in Liverpool, and we had Mr. T in Panto. So I did have to go and meet him at the hotel to sort of introduce him and get him settled in and meet his car from the airport.
Okay, one of the team has just sent me a note. Did Mr. T nearly go to your house for Christmas?
Yes, he did.
Well, hang on. How have you left this out until now?
Well, he was here on his own. He didn't have any family or friends with him. And I felt I couldn't really leave him on his own, just in the hotel. So I had to brace my mother that we might have to bring him for Christmas dinner, and was it okay for me to invite him to come round?
It's the kind of thing I would do, Chris, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Hi, Mum, I'm really sorry I didn't mention it, but Mr. T's coming around. He's got nowhere to go. It's Christmas.
Is that type of celebrity as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Like very famous, but also
of their time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like when I warned my mum last minute that David Hasselhoff was coming around and can she make him a sandwich?
Very similar, yes. Yeah, for
Although
sure.
he would have been there for the full Christmas lunch.
To her credit, they took it in their stride and said, "Oh, okay then, yeah, we can manage that."
Did it happen?
He did accept it. I did invite him, and he did say he was coming. But in the end, he
got a better offer.
Well, he went round the Children's Hospital at Alder Hey. No fanfare, no press, no fuss. But that was the kind of guy he is, and he thought that he would go and spend it with the kids who were also away from their family and friends at Christmas, and that was just really typical.
What a nice guy.
He was a nice guy. Well, he is a nice guy, yeah.
Although looking back, it's a shame that you didn't get to spend Christmas Day with him, because what a story for life, the rest of your life.
Well, yes, I know.
Watching Top of the Pots with Mr. T, Charades, The Queen, Only Fools and Horses, EastEnders. you could have poured a cracker with him and he would have been, what's this, fool? Because they don't know what they are in America.
No, I don't think he really knew what panto was when he accepted the gig.
Very, very British pursuit, isn't it?
Poor guy. Like, he's obviously been paid decent wedge for it. It's turned up.
It's like, what even is this?
This is mad. Like, like, even as a British person, like, it's mad panto, isn't it?
It is. To an American, they're like, what is this? Who's Jack and what's the beanstalk?
Yeah,
they don't
how
get
am I getting so much money for this?
Yeah, I'm just wearing a pair of tights.
Yep, he was Aladdin.
He was Aladdin, of course he was. Jackie, I'm so glad we spoke to you this morning. Thank you so much for being on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Podcasts to brighten your day on BBC Sounds, like the birthday cake game.
How old this week is Declan Donnelly?
Which one's that?
Wheel of Misfortune.
My hobbies really are like overeating and watching reality TV, which doesn't look good on a CV.
Or You're Dead to Me.
Have you heard of Mary Seacole?
I know that she is the nurse of all nurses, and if she was alive during this pandemic, we would have been clapping for her, not just Thursday, but Monday to Sunday.
Listen on BBC Sounds.